long does it take to close on a house? That's usually one of the main things that both buyers and sellers want to know. And it's kind of a loaded question because there really is no one single answer. The average time to buy a house is around 30 days, but it can vary a lot, a whole lot. Why? Well, stick around and find out, because that's what we're talking about today. Hi there, I'm Stephanie Frost, and I'm a real estate agent in Ocala, Florida. I'm here every Tuesday to talk about all things real estate in the Ocala and Marion County, Florida area. So what are some of the things that could affect how long it takes to close on a house? Well, the first thing is, when do the buyer and seller both want to close? Typically it takes about 30 to 45 days to close on a house, but it's really whatever you want to write into a contract. Maybe the seller needs more time to move or find a house to buy. Or maybe the buyer has a lease that isn't up for another 60 or 90 days. So the closing date is whatever time frame the buyer and seller both agree on. The second thing that affects how long it takes to close is the type of financing, or if it's a cash deal. A lot of people think that if they have cash, they can close as fast as the day after they sign a contract, and I guess theoretically they could, but practically speaking, it doesn't work that way. Pretty much everybody wants the security of having a title insurance policy when they buy a house, and title search usually takes at least a few days and generally closer to a week or so. So a cash sale can usually close in about 2 weeks. If the sale involves financing, what kind of financing is the buyer getting? Is it an FHA loan, a VA loan, USDA, or is it conventional? Is the buyer putting down 20%, or are they putting down nothing at all? All of that factors into how long it takes to close. The more qualified a buyer is, the more credit history they have, generally the shorter time it's going to take to approve the loan. On the other hand, if the buyer has little credit history, doesn't have a whole lot of money in the bank, or doesn't have a strong job history behind them, the more carefully the lender is going to go over the file because they want to make sure that they get paid back. Lenders don't really like to foreclose on a property. It's a massive pain in the butt, and they almost always lose money. So they want to be really sure that that buyer can make the payments. And speaking of lenders, they can affect the time it takes to close on a house too. Some lenders just have a faster turnaround time than others. They're diligent about getting the paperwork done, they keep everybody in the loop so there's no hiccups along the way, and generally they're just a joy to work with. Then you have the lenders who just don't feel that your schedule is their problem. They don't communicate well, they don't give updates, and sometimes they don't bother to get the paperwork done in time for the closing date. Which brings up another point. The closing date isn't really written in stone. It can be somewhat fluid. If a buyer's lender has any last-minute issues or certain required paperwork doesn't get to the buyer on time, the closing is going to have to be delayed until those things can be taken care of. Sometimes there might be a title issue that takes longer than expected to clear up, or maybe there's an issue with a home that needs to be addressed before closing, and the seller couldn't get a contract in to fix the issue right away. Here in Florida, roof issues tend to cause a lot of closing delays because we get a lot of rain. And, well, roofers can't work in the rain, so even if they were supposed to be finished before closing, their schedule can get backed up, and so on, and well, you get the idea. So sometimes, try as we might, we can't always close on time. So don't plan on leaving on vacation the day after closing, just in case. We can do a whole lot with electronic signing and overnight mail, but you might want to keep yourself available for just a day or two. So now you know the average time to close on a house, along with a few of the reasons why that closing date might be delayed. And if you like this video, check out a few of my other videos while you're here. And don't forget to like and subscribe because I do this every week and you don't want to miss anything.